guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nurse Lee, and on my channel I talk about nursing, beauty, and lifestyle. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you, and the notification bell below so that you will be notified when I post my videos. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my NCLEX experience. This is my personal experience that I want to share with you all. Just letting you guys know how my NCLEX went for me. I'm going to talk about the day before the exam, the day of the exam, and the day after the exam. So I'm going to break it down into those segments and just tell you guys my reaction to the exam. I got a lot of questions asking me if the exam was easy, was it hard, what was it? So yeah, I'm just going to be talking through my NCLEX experience, and if you're interested in hearing about it, keep watching. So let's talk about the day before the exam. The day before the exam, I did not study much at all. The day before the exam, I basically just reviewed some of my notes that I had been taking throughout the time I was studying. I did a little bit of reviewing of the areas where I was unsure of and I just felt uneasy about, so I looked over my notes in those areas, and I didn't do any more practice questions. I said if I do any practice questions this day right before my exam, I'm going to be freaking out if I get any questions wrong. So I didn't do any practice questions the day before my exam, because that would have just raised my anxiety. And that would have just freaked me out if I got any questions wrong, because I would have been thinking like, oh my God, I'm not going to do well on my NCLEX exam because I'm not getting questions right now. So I refrained from doing questions the day before my exam and just did a little bit of review of my notes just to, like, you know, be sure. I know they say don't study before an exam, the day before an exam, but it's really hard for me not to open up my notebook and not study the day before an exam. So I just did it for my own sanity. I reviewed some notes and that was it. What else did I do the day before the exam? I did some like self-care activities just to take my mind off the exam, because every time I thought about, oh my God, my exam is tomorrow, I would start getting like really, like, my anxiety would just start going, and I'm like, let me just take my mind off of it. So I did some self-care activities. I did, like, I'm trying to think what I did. I like to do like online shopping and stuff to get my mind off of things, or just watched a TV show that I was into at the time, just like I said, to get my mind off of the exam. So just doing stuff to distract me from the reality that my exam is the next day. So the night of the day before the exam, I went to sleep earlier than usual, because it is important to get enough sleep, especially the day before an exam. So I made sure I went to sleep early to ensure that I got like 7 to 8 hours of sleep right before my NCLEX exam. I also I just said a prayer and prayed, like, you know, Lord Jesus, I've studied everything I could study. I've done all the practice questions I could possibly do. And I just gave the rest to the Lord and said, like, just guide me, help me to pass this exam. Like, I just put it all into his hands and went to sleep. As hard as it was for me to sleep that night, I'm not even gonna lie, it was not easy for me to sleep knowing that I had to take my board exam the next day. But eventually I fell asleep, and then the next day was the exam. So this is the exam day, and I had to wake up early because my exam site was 1 hour away from where I lived. So I had to make sure I woke up early. I left the house. So the exam started at 8 a.m. So because I lived an hour away, I had to leave. I think I woke up around 5, left the house 5:45, I want to say, just to give myself enough time to factor in traffic as well. Like, I was just praying, like, please don't let there be too much traffic, because if there's a lot of traffic, I'm going to be late to my exam. I probably wouldn't be able to take well, I know I wouldn't be able to take the exam, because if you're late, they're not letting you take it. So it was a lot that was going through my mind that morning of the exam. But the number one thing was I need to get there on time. The reason why I scheduled the exam, well, I had no choice but to schedule the exam an hour away, because all the other testing centers were booked up. All the testing centers near where I lived were all booked up. So I had to pick I didn't want to wait too long to take my exam. So my only other option was to book the exam at a further testing site. So that's what I did. Thank the Lord, I got there on time. I even had extra time. So I got there on time and had time to spare. So there was traffic in the midst of it, but the traffic was like moving traffic, so I was good. Got to the exam site, knew that I had more time to spare, so I decided to eat breakfast. I usually don't eat breakfast before an exam, just because I'm just so nervous. Like, I don't even have an appetite to eat. But I had to force myself to eat, because like we all know, it is important to eat breakfast. It's important to eat breakfast in general, but even more so important to eat breakfast right before an exam, so that you get your energy going. So thankfully, there was a lot of like restaurant spots around that I could go and eat at. Fast food, like quick, you could just pick up something quick to eat on the go. So I, got a cup of coffee and I think like a breakfast sandwich. And I had time to eat my breakfast sandwich. When I was done, it was going on like probably like 7:30 at this point, maybe 7:40. I decided to walk to the testing site, the actual building, and got checked in. Nerves are still running at this point. I really couldn't do nothing to control my nerves. That's just what it is. So when you get to the actual testing center and the actual room that you're going to take your test in, I'm trying to remember the process I had to go through. They asked me which exam I was there to take. I told them the NCLEX-RN. They gave me a paper to fill out. I filled the paper out. They took all my belongings. I know that for sure. They took my phone, bag, everything, took it all away from me. And they locked it up in a locker. When they called my name, I had to do fingerprints. So they did my fingerprint. And after I did all the fingerprinting, I went into the room and they gave me a few more instructions. And I went into the room and sat down, got ready to take my NCLEX-RN exam. Mind you, the nerves are still going. They haven't stopped. I'm still nervous. So it wasn't too many people in my testing center, which was a good thing. So I took the test. And as I'm taking the test, getting all these questions, going through it for a couple of hours. I eventually was, started to relax a bit, because it's like, all right, Lisa, if your heart keeps pounding, and you're all worked up, you got to concentrate, you got to focus. So I had to like relax. And that's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. When you get into that testing center, as hard as it may be to calm yourself down, try to calm yourself down and relax, because that's the only way you're going to focus. That's the only way you're going to like understand the questions and answer them correctly, is if you focus and take your time. So try to block out all everything you can block out from your mind, block out the negative thoughts, block it all out, and just remain focused, remain positive during your exam. Even if there's a question that you feel like you don't know, try your best, take an educated guess, and keep moving. Don't spend too much time on one question. And that's what I try to remember. Lisa, if you don't know it, you got to pick something and keep moving. Don't keep on wasting time, because if you don't know it, you don't know it. I mean, it is what it is. It's that simple. So if you do know it, pick the right answer, keep moving. If you don't know it, take an educated guess, process of elimination, pick the answer that you think is the best choice, and keep moving. So I'm taking the exam still, and people are finishing before me, but I didn't let that get to me at all. It's like everyone tests at a different pace anyway, so it didn't bother me whether I was going to be the last one or not in the testing center, because I wanted to use my time wisely. I didn't want to rush at all, and I didn't rush. I took my time, completed my exam, computer shut off, and that was that. So after the exam was over, I was so relieved. I was so relieved. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah. It is over. It is done. I was so happy that it was just over. I wasn't even thinking about if I passed or not. I'm just like, I'm glad this exam is over. So handed everything in to the instructor, and they gave me back my belongings. Left the testing center. When I tell you guys, like, something just lifted off my shoulder, like completely lifted off my shoulder. I was so relieved. Got in the car, said another prayer, like, Lord, I've completed this exam. It is in your hands. I pray for the best. I pray that I pass. I didn't know what to think of the exam, honestly, when it was all said and done. I didn't know what to think of it because there were some questions that I didn't know. There were some questions that I knew. I just didn't know. There's questions that I guessed on, obviously. I knew I had a lot of select all and apply questions that's not my strong suit. So it was just like, I don't know. I picked my best answers. I really didn't know what to think of the exam afterwards. I was just happy that it was over, like I said. So, people are calling, asking me, like, was it easy? Was the exam hard? How was it? And honestly, I can't tell you whether the exam was easy or hard because what I think is easy may be hard for you, and what I think is hard may be easy for you. So it's like, I can't really tell you if it was hard or easy. I mean, prior to me taking the exam, I would even ask my colleagues, like, was the exam easy? Was it hard? And they would tell me, some people would tell me it was easy. Some people would tell me it was hard. Like, it's so hard. Like, so then it's like, who do you believe? You have to take the exam for yourself, and, you have to tell for yourself whether you think it's easy or hard. Like I said, me personally, I can't say whether it was easy or hard because there were questions that I knew that were correct, and there were questions that I knew that I probably didn't get correct because I didn't know the correct answer from the jump. I had to guess. If you study all your materials, honestly, you should be fine. If you study, you should be fine. The exam is literally a randomized exam. Like, they pull these questions from a randomized test bank, and you take your test. You're not going to get the same question as the other person got. Like, that's very rare. For me to call my colleague and be like, oh, what questions did you get? They're telling me the questions they got, and I'm hoping to get those same questions. It's not going to happen that way. Everyone's test is different. Everyone's test is completely different when it comes to, like, the questions, as to what questions you're going to get. So, I would just encourage you guys to study all your weak points, study what you're not too strong in, and go take the exam. You'll be fine. It shouldn't be new information, honestly. It should not be new information. If you study everything, you should know the concepts. You should know the general picture of the question that they're asking, and you should be fine. As far as what kind of questions I got a variety of questions in terms of, like I said before, I got a lot of select all and apply questions. So if you're not strong in select all and apply questions, take a lot of those practice questions so that you can build yourself on it. I got a lot of drag and drop questions, putting things in order, like, I'm just like, for example, if they ask you to put the PPE in order as to how you would don it, or put the PPE in order on how you would doff it, you want to know the correct order of that. That's just an example. That might not be on your test. So yeah, you all. So my NCLEX experience overall, it was nerve-wracking, but once it was all over, it was like, oh my God, it was a relief for me. And lo and behold, I passed the NCLEX exam. So that made me feel even better about the exam. But I don't want to sit up here and say that it was easy or hard. Like, I don't want to steer anybody in the wrong direction. I just want you all to study as much information as possible. Believe in yourself. You know what you know. Go with your first instinct. Go with your gut feeling when you're picking answers. Don't second guess yourself, because when you second guess yourself, that's when you trip up and you don't pick the right answer. So go with your gut feeling. And yeah, you should be fine, and you will pass your NCLEX exam as well. I just thought I would come on here and just tell you guys how my experience went. Nothing too special. Just the fact that I was very nervous, but I'm nervous when it comes to exams in general. So, yeah. So thank you all so much for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns down below, leave those in the comment box down below. I'll be answering your questions. If you have any questions about my NCLEX experience, like specific questions that I didn't touch on in this video, leave them down in the comment box below. I'll be answering them. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.